喂
喂
喂
喂 hello 聽唔聽到啊？
聽到。
Okay, hello.
The thing is, the Cantonese way, the wei, and the Mandarin way, they're so similar, and it's so difficult to tell, like, if you're speaking in Cantonese or Mandarin, unless you speak a bit more.
Yeah. I did hear the way, but I was like, no, we're sticking with Canto, missus.
So, hello. Here we are with Clarissa again. And this is the second episode we're going to be recording together in English, of course. 这一期节目也会是用英文的哦，就是也是给 Wendy 练习英文的一个好机会。
What is it? 好好学学，天天向上。
好好学习，天天向上。Yeah. So today we're gonna be talking about boobs.
Boobs.
I want to give...
I'm sorry, it's just so fun to say it like that.
I want to give everyone a bit of the background, actually on two things. One, why are we doing English episodes? And two, why are we talking about boobs? So the English one, I'll keep it short, but this year it's very special to me because I start to realize my English character, because I also consider myself as bilingual, my English character starts to grow a bit more to a place where she needs to conduct more deeper conversations with people other than the small talks to make her grow. Like she's at that age where she needs to express or talk about deeper things more often. And I think podcast is a good chance for her to talk, given she's also quite introverted. So I start to invite my English speaking friends like Clarissa.
Oh, hey.
To conduct some English speaking episodes and talk about the topics that we would still talk about it if we're in English.
I love Clarissa. Boobs. That's it.
That's where the connection comes. So boobs, it starts with, guess what?
B?
Inside Out 2. No. I have to explain my thinking thread. Like, how did I come here? So I went to see Inside Out 2.
Your train of thought?
My chain of...
Your train of thought.
My train of... Is that how you say? Like... okay.
You're like choo-choo train of thought.
Yeah, like how did it come here? So I went to the US this summer, and where I met a bunch of girlfriends from high school. And then they were talking about how they felt so self-conscious about their body shape, about either, a little tummy, a little like they don't like their boobs. They're like, in Asian, usually girls can get annoyed or like they're just not happy about the way their boobs looks like. And I was listening and I'm like, I actually don't think about it that much. And then I went to watch Inside Out 2, and there was this new emotion, awkwardness.
Yeah, in English, it's called embarrassment.
Oh, embarrassment. Yes,
Yeah.
Embarrassment. I really like this character.
Yeah,
Like, he's
I'm
so
sure you did.
Cute. Yeah. So embarrassment was introduced, and then it got me to start thinking and realizing that I was actually embarrassed with how my boobs are like. Not was. Sometimes am.
What? You have the best boobs.
See, I hear that a lot from my girlfriends.
Yeah, you do.
There was a day when because we went to the US for a friend's wedding, and then there was like a party or like other gatherings, and I was like picking a dress, and I got this dress on, and I was like half covering my boobs area, and I went to my other girlfriends and say, is this okay? Because I feel like this is really revealing.
Oh my God. Wendy, honestly, like I think if of anyone in the world, if I could choose to have their boobs, I would probably have yours.
Aww.
Like they are yummy.
I'm trying to figure out where did this, not really shame, but like...
Oh girl, you're about to open a whole kettle of worms here. I am ready.
Yeah, like I agree. I love my boobs. They look really nice.
Yes.
And
it's an honor to be in their presence, I must say.
Yes. But I think the embarrassment comes with, so let's rewind and going back to where your boobs first start to grow, first start to introduce themselves. Back in, I guess, middle school, I remember a picture in my head vividly. There was a girl running in the playground. Yeah. The playground. And then they were people behind or around me and like judging on her, saying like, "Ooh, they're shaking," and there were girls and boys all saying that, and then I'm like, oh, so it's not good? Because apparently the tone wasn't pleasant, the tone wasn't friendly.
I can imagine, like, because there's so much fat phobia, right? And also just, I think, in modern day culture in general, to have anything that jiggles seems to be wrong. So although it's perfectly natural, of course this part should jiggle. Maybe when you're at that age, and you have that preconception in your head. Hello. I think, yeah, that's probably like, obviously people don't understand what it is and what's going on. Like it takes time to understand your body is changing and other people around you's body is changing. So I wonder if that's where it was coming from. Just like, it's jiggling. Like nothing should jiggle.
Or I think it's just teenagers or younger people doesn't know how to react to those things. Yeah. And then they just make fun of things when they are embarrassed.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's true too.
Yeah. So this is how embarrassment linked me together with boob, how I felt about my boobs. And then nowadays, like, I'm still feeling uncomfortable because, like, people stares.
Of course.
And that makes me uncomfortable. And that makes me embarrassed. And then I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I don't want to deal with don't know what to do kind of emotion.
I get that.
So that's where I come from. Like, boobs.
You gotta say boobs with more gravitas. You gotta be like boobs. You're too soft on it. You're like boobs. No, boobs.
So during your growing up, how was the experience when you start to? Because also we come from, I guess, pretty different culture background during that period of time.
Yeah.
Were you in Hong Kong
when I started getting boobs? No, I was in Japan.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
How did that go?
Well, so I was a late bloomer. So when I was living in America, everyone around me was starting to get boobs, and I wasn't.
Ooh.
And I was just there, and I was like, please, it's all I want. And I just remember like being so desperate to have boobs, and I wasn't getting them yet. And the thing is, in my family, all the women are very large breasted. So I was like, come on. What is going on here? I'm being so cheated. And like, even I remember when I bought my first bra, and I was just so excited, but I had to buy it with like multiple inches of padding inside because there wasn't actually anything to put in the bra. But I was like, I have a bra. It's a double triple A, but it doesn't matter. Like, oh my God, the joy. So yeah, that was a whole thing. But then when I was a little bit older and I moved to Japan, I literally, Wendy, I woke up one morning and then suddenly, like, they were. They were just like, hello.
Oh, wow.
It's like one call away greeting, like, hello. Yeah, so, and I was so happy. Oh my God, I was so excited. Like,
was it long after you got to Japan?
I mean, I wasn't in Japan very long. I was only there for a semester. So, but like at sort of halfway through or whatever, yeah.
Okay. And do you remember, how did your classmate, did they have any reaction?
No, you know what's interesting in all of my like boob development experience, I don't remember other people's reactions to me. But maybe that's just because I was so excited to have boobs. Like, I just didn't care. I was just like,
good for you.
Look at these babies. Oh, have you seen my boobs?
Good
Not
for
that
you.
I was like flaunting them in any way, but I just almost like, it's like when I think back at that time, I don't even remember faces of other people, voices of other people. I just remember my voice and being like, ah!
That's good.
Yeah, called my mum. I was like, look at these. Look at what's going on. Oh my God. Because we used to joke, there's a great line in the film Bend It Like Beckham, where she says like, oh, don't worry, these mosquito bites will turn into juicy mangoes. So that was the running joke because I wanted boobs so badly. So I'd be like, my mosquito bites gonna be juicy mangoes. So When I finally got them, I was like, juicy mangoes. But then from there, they just kept growing. So then I was like, juicy melons. And then I was like, what comes after melons? Like,
How was your, okay, so you were in Beijing for 2 years?
like
year?
a year and a half.
A year and a half. Where do you get your bras?
I don't. I literally can't shop for bras in Asia. It's become quite desperate, Wendy. I have to wait until I go. I mean, of course you can buy bras online, but I just think
bras. I want to try them on.
Yeah, because okay, one of my favorite things about boobs is how everybody's boobs are different.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just, I personally think it is something to be celebrated. I think it's the most coolest thing ever, because women in and of themselves, physically, emotionally, everything, I think are way more diverse than men. You know, men are diverse, but women, it's like just incredible how different each woman is to the next. And then within that, there's just like everything, right? Like even their boobs are different to each other, and it's just so cool. So with that, I just find shopping for bras online impossible, because you just don't know how it's going to fit on you, where it's comfortable. Is it giving you the right support? Like, you might buy it and think, okay, great, and then suddenly, you know, you'll be getting back pain or something else. So yeah, I can't buy bras in Asia because I'm too large. So I have to wait until I go back to the UK, because also I was watching a documentary about boobs recently, actually, and something about UK. Yeah, seriously.
I just want to say you're just so into boobs.
I'm so into boobs. I just love that we're doing a podcast about boobs. Maybe we should start a whole boob branded podcast. But no, it's interesting because in the UK, I think, I can't remember the statistic now, but like compared to the rest of the world, British women are some of the largest breasted women. Like recently they found this in an updated study. And there's a whole thing there about boob consciousness and wanting to get boob reductions. It's like one of the biggest places to get boob reductions. But anyway, the point is, for a shopping perspective, it's great because I can go and like actually find my size. But yeah, so I always have to like wait for a trip to go to London to do that.
Stock up your bras.
Yeah, literally. I'm just like, please.
So then I want to ask this question in a quite straightforward way. I'm also starting to realize it's really difficult to do a podcast in English because apparently my Chinese mindset, it's so different.
It's very different, right?
And then some questions I thought about in Chinese doesn't really make sense in English. So
I have that all the time when I'm switching channels.
Yeah, so this is one of the questions where I think it's not really making sense in English now. Did you ever felt peer pressure in China when all people around you are having much smaller boobs, but you're having a much bigger one?
I think that question works in English for sure.
Cool,
Yeah, for sure. So obviously, again, like as a teenager, late teens and early 20s as well, I'm like, yes, boobies. And now I'm like, okay, we can stop growing. Okay, we're still going. And so there is a self-consciousness with that now. I don't think it would be the same as like maybe when you were saying you experienced it at a younger age. Like I think it's a very different kind of self-consciousness. But one of the things that was so funny living in Beijing, because guailos in general are larger than Asian women.
Yeah.
So I would be in the changing room, and I was very surprised in China because I always, before I actually lived there, I thought Chinese culture was very conservative.
Yeah.
And in many ways it is.
Yeah.
But there are things where I'm like, you're just okay. Bathrooms with no doors on them, sure. You know, changing rooms where they just like go for it. But
the showering room.
Yeah. But actually, to be honest, I learned so much from that, and I was like, I love how indifferent you are about, like, maybe to each other it's like, oh, 我胖了, or 这个不好看, 太, you know, 好多肉, or whatever they want to say, right? But like overall, to have the confidence to walk around naked in a changing room, I was like, I want to be able to do that. That's amazing. So that was a good thing. But part of that meant that when I was walking around naked, women would just follow me. They would be like looking at my boobs or my butt or my thighs and be like, hey, 你看好大呀, 好多肉呀. I'm like, I don't need you to point out how thick I am. Thank you very much. And so my friend and I, like, she's from Wales and she came to Asia for the first time when we moved to Beijing. So like, what a culture shock.
Oh my.
And she like, oh my God, she's gorgeous. She's like total hourglass figure, but like lovely kind of shaped hips, but like really nice big boobies. And just she is I was gonna say she should be a model. She is a model and an actress. But like whenever we would walk around together, we were like, oh, stop it. Don't look at me. Oh! And like barely together could we even, like the first time I had to undress in front of her was in Beijing because we went for a massage, but they decided to massage us in the same room. And we were like, well, that's okay. That would be nice, you know, get to know each other. We're going to be roommates. And then they're like, 好好,你放你的衣服在这儿吧. And I was like, but she's in the room? And they're like, 你快点吧. I was like, oh, so we're just gonna get naked here right now. I remember, I know it's a weird thing to say, but I literally remember the first time I saw her boobs because I was like, oh, hello. And then I was like, and here are my boobs. Okay, let's just lie down and get this massage now. Okay, you know. So anyway, we became very close very quickly.
Oh, wow. What a culture shock. Even within China, the northern part Chinese and the southern part of Chinese are very different on that because apparently it only exists in the northern part of China.
Is it? Okay, okay. Yeah, because I was like, in Hong Kong, we would never do that. So.
No, they don't do it in Guangdong, Shanghai.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry though. By the end of that year and a half in Beijing, I was strutting around and I was like, 对,好多肉.
Oh, that's great then. Like, so you had the experience where you see people, but did that ever made you, did you ever feel like, oh no, I want to, you know, make my boobs smaller just to fit in?
I've never wanted to make my boobs smaller. Honestly, like I love my boobs. Like I am, even though I think they're quite large now, I still will put on a bra and be like, yes, hello. Like, I love my boobs. I think they're great and I enjoy celebrating them. But I think having smaller boobs would be convenient for various reasons. Like, for example, because my body shape is a larger body shape, having big boobs on top of that means everything I wear, I look so big. And in terms of fashion, like, I think it can sometimes really dictate what I can and can't wear. And even things like if I just wear a V, so it's also, you get these ironies, right? Like, to look good on my body shape, I should wear a V-cut shirt. But because I wear a V-cut shirt, you can see my cleavage. And although it is absolutely no different than if you wore your shirt, to people around me, it's like, oh my God, look at her, you know, so slutty.
It's that kind of,
and it's like, hang on, leave me and my boobies alone. Thank you very much. And so there is a lot of, I think, I mean, maybe we'll tangent into this later, but like there's a lot of double standards with women and their boobs. But in terms of just going back to your question about would I make mine smaller, like what I've noticed now is because of the size of my boobs, it's kind of impacting my ability to exercise. Like I can't jump and I'm super flexible, but sometimes like I can't go to the full extent of my flexibility because my boobs are in the way or something, right? So sometimes I have these moments where I'm just like, ugh. You know, I just want to like flip it each over one shoulder or something and like get it out of the way. But you know, on the whole though, I love my boobs and I don't think I'll touch them, or if I do, it will be, you know, down the line. Like we had a great chat.
Yeah,
Remember
I was
that?
just gonna mention it was a random day, and then we had a random walk to a
That's
shop.
our style, though.
That's
how we do.
Spontaneous. Yeah, and then we met this lady. We were just started chatting because we were waiting for things, and then she's like, all of a sudden, yeah, that's why I'm so happy that I got my boob reduction job. And I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah. Full on chat we had for like an hour, didn't we? Yeah. But and that's the thing, like, that's why I'm never saying no, because my mum did the same, and this woman did the same, and I know quite a few other women who have done it, and they said it changed their life. And I could see that because I'm now getting to a point where it does impact certain things that I do in life.
For sure.
But I'm not in a place yet where I'm like so annoyed or like I physically can't that I really feel I need to. Like I still just love my boobies as they are. So Yeah.
I think part of the kind of shame I get, it's when I look at my boobs, I think it's very different that I'm still single. I'm not a mom yet, so I don't actually get to use them in like a necessary way versus when you started breastfeeding and you've realized, oh, they're actually, I don't know, these are just what I think it would change my preconception of boobs to me. But like,
that's not preconception, that's your perception.
My perception, yeah. Like, till now, I still think sometimes my boobs are just part of how I look versus they're not like my organ. They're not like, they're not really functioning in any sense. They're just a way to present myself or like.
So you don't think... Like, and there's no right or wrong answer to this. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
You don't think that your boobs define you as a woman? Because some people don't. So I'm just wondering, because that's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't think my boobs, no. I don't think my boobs defines me as a woman. Yeah. If anything, I would think like the other way around. I'm a woman.
And therefore you
have
have
therefore
boobs.
I have boobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
The shame comes maybe from I look at my boobs depends on how other people looks at my boobs.
Well, other people look at your boobs with joy and lust, so. But is it shame or is it embarrassment?
It's embarrassment.
Okay.
It's embarrassment.
Because those are two different emotions.
I definitely have embarrassment when people stare at or just look at my boobs and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I mean.
But let me try to dig deeper.
Yeah.
So, for example, I've got some dresses that I don't wear often just because they show probably too much. When I say too much, it's probably...
it's whatever you think, right?
Yeah. And then I guess it's just I don't want people to think that I'm showing.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I mean... that's kind of what I was saying as well. Like, if I wear a V-cut shirt, but then people are like, "Ooh, hello, boobies," and it's like, no, I'm just wearing a freaking shirt. But like, I think the place I come to, I mean, it's very hard. It's very, very hard because I think it's so uncomfortable when someone looks at you like that, and when you know, like, if I don't know, then okay, ignorance is bliss, but. When you know someone is looking at you like that, or you have a conversation, their eyes keep dropping down, and then like it's very uncomfortable. And the good thing is, I feel like we're getting to a place in the world today where we're empowered to say something about that. But perhaps this is my British side. I'm then too embarrassed to then call that out. So I'm there and I'm like, what do I stop looking at me? Like, what do I say? And you know, whatever. But I think that. So there's definitely that side. And many days I wake up like that. But there are other days where I wake up and I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. You're looking at them because they look good. And you probably want some. You ain't getting it. Look but don't touch, sir. Or woman, whoever it is. But I just like, I kind of just don't care. And I just like, because at the end of the day, this is my body. There is nothing, especially boobs, right? Maybe people feel differently around weight. Okay, you could, if you eat more, maybe you get bigger. If you exercise more, maybe you get smaller, whatever. We've all got different ways to manage our weight. But boobs, you can't really do anything. Like, I know that some people, when they lose or gain weight, their boobs can grow or shrink. But for me personally, and I know other people like me, it doesn't matter.
Mine doesn't.
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, I have had times in my life where I've been like a size 4 in the US, like very small. But that then is when my boobs grow. And I'm just like, wait, what? And it's not visually they look bigger. I mean, actually I have to go buy new bras because I don't fit in my old bras. So it's not always correlated, right? So when I realized that and realized that of all the things on my body, the size of my boobs, unless I did something surgical, it's really not something I can control.
Yeah.
That's when I just have a moment where I'm like, whatever. Right? This is me, this is my body, and this is what I want to wear today because I'm comfortable in this and I feel good in this and it makes me feel confident. And I'm not going to let that bother me because I have bigger things in life to care about. And that's just a silly glance, you know? And it's not every day that I feel like that, right? Like, it's good when those days happen and I wish they would happen more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just try and think about it more from that perspective.
I'm also just thinking back. There are days, first of all, I love my boobs. Like they're perfect size, perfect shape, perfect texture. Everything's perfect. I love them. I'm so proud of them actually.
Yeah.
And there are days where I wake up and I feel like, I'm happy to show a bit more to other people, like sharing kind of in that sense.
Sharing the joy.
Not like sharing them all, but like you get to see a little bit more today than usual.
Instead of a turtleneck, you wore a shirt.
And then there are also, of course, days I just want to cover myself up
I think
all the
everyone's
way.
the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the thing I'm trying to deal with, it's just I want to feel more proud in my boobs.
Yes.
And then when people look at them, I'm just like, yeah, I got them. Yeah.
I wish more women would feel more proud about their boobs. I wish more women would celebrate their boobs, because I think that there is like a lot of the embarrassment that comes from boobs, it doesn't originate from internal embarrassment. No. It usually originates from external embarrassment, as in like external pressure, external assumptions or prejudices on how a boob should look. Yeah. Right? So if you have a slightly different boob, suddenly you're like, oh my God, but this is not like in that picture or in that movie, super perky, whatever. And that's sad, because I don't think that's always realistic. And also, as someone, well, we've both worked in the film industry, we know how much costume, makeup, tape, photo editing, like there's so much there to get that image the way it is. And yes, there are people who are born with what we would call the perfect rack. But that doesn't mean your rack is any less perfect, just means your rack is different. And especially because it's something you can't control. Yeah. If you don't feel pride, and if you constantly feel downtrodden or embarrassed. Downtrodden, like someone steps on you, like always putting you down. But because you can't control it, like, aren't you just setting yourself up for failure? Aren't you just setting yourself up to feel sad and to feel shit about yourself? And again, not an easy thing to do, but just sometimes that's what goes through my head. And I'm like, why am I allowing myself to feel shit about this when this is my body? And what I should really be focusing on the fact is that I'm breathing, I'm healthy, I'm alive, I'm well, you know, and I'm going to learn to love my boobs. So because I definitely went through one phase where I didn't like my boobs, and I got past that because every day I woke up and I would just like be like, I love my boobies. I love my boobs. And I'd look down and I'd be like, oh, hello, boobies. You know, just like have a moment with the boobies. But yeah, because basically I think it's just very difficult to work through those pressures and constantly pressure yourself to look a certain way with your boobs when you don't need to, because boobs are great however they come. Yeah.
So we got a couple minutes left. I think we kind of already touched base on this question or like statement. What is love your body for you?
Oh my gosh.
Or like a message you want to deliver.
That's such a loaded question.
We always end it with a loaded question.
I mean, it's just, so say it again. What is to love your body? Wow, that's impossible to answer, because everybody is so different, right? Like maybe before you answer that. Wait, I was just on the verge of an epiphany.
Okay, go for it. Go on. Before you answer that, because I like at this age, at this day, I know girls, friends out there would still look at themselves at the mirror, and they would pick like certain clothes because they know it covers the part where they don't want to show people, or they're not confident to show people, or they think it's, you know, not good or whatever. I'm not saying they don't love their body, but
I think actually it's a really interesting and important thing to discuss, which is you don't want to be, okay, first of all, I would hope people don't constantly like, excuse my language, I can't think of a more elegant word. So I would say people don't shit on their bodies all the time, right? But equally, I think it's also, we need to be balanced and not have toxic positivity where you're like, I love my body. I love my body. I love everything about because the reality is that's probably not true.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't want to, and it's tiring to either
Always
shit on
be,
yourself or
yeah.
always be positive. So we have to kind of find a balance. And I think Tan France in Queer Eye, whenever he dresses someone, I just love the language he uses because he doesn't make anyone feel ashamed if they have a place where they're uncomfortable. And instead he will like tell them how to dress so that they can feel more confident in those areas. But also as he's dressing them, he looks to other parts of the body and he's like, oh my God, look at your ass. Or like, oh my God, the way your calves, and like one of the weirdest compliments I've ever gotten of one of my really good friends. But since we've grown up together, she always says, I have the best knees. And I'm like, what? What is that? What does that even mean? Like how many knees are you looking at? She's like, no, but seriously, your knees are just amazing. And I know it's silly, but then I'm like, oh, I feel really good about myself now. I want to check out my knees. Like, so I think that maybe what is it to love your body is it's first of all to accept that we're not perfect, right? And so with the imperfection, we'll of course have times where we don't like certain parts of our body, and it might not always be the same part, it might be different, or maybe it's the same thing your whole life you felt that way, and that's okay. But I think it's equally important, and we have to be so actively mindful in doing it, because is to find those places of our body that we do love and we do want to celebrate, because it's so freaking easy in the world today. I mean, it was already, these pressures I think have always existed for women. I don't think that's ever changed throughout the history of being a woman. But I think now with the accessibility of advertisements, film, phone, posters, magazines, I mean, you name it, right? You are constantly surrounded by whatever that culture thinks a woman should look like. And probably 9 times out of 10, you're not going to look like that. 10 times out of 10 for me, right? Like, that's fine. So it's very easy to kind of shit on ourselves and make and focus on the negative parts. Yeah. And I think we just have to go, okay, this is a problem area for me. I accept that. What can I do to bring a little bit of confidence to myself, or not even confidence, comfort? Like, I just want to feel comfortable so that I can go outside and walk around. Because I've definitely had days where I'm like, I actually want to cancel my plans because I don't want to go outside right now. But I think I'm also very good with having like an emotional brain and a logic brain, and having them like chat, quote unquote, chat with each other. So my emotional brain will say something like that, and then my logic brain will be like, okay, that's understandable, and it sucks to be feeling that way today. What can we do to not cancel those plans? Because ultimately we should make a goal to not cancel those plans. So is it to wear a bin bag? Is it to wear your pajamas? Is it to put on a bit of lipstick and draw the attention up to your lips because you love wearing colored lipstick? Like, let's find that thing that's going to help us kind of work through that. And the lipstick one's actually a really good example, because then I'm like, okay, yes, I love my lips and I love wearing different color lipsticks, like bold. You've seen me, right? Like orange, blue, red, purple, right? So then that brings me to focus on a part of my body that I do love and something that's more positive. So I think that's maybe what loving your body is working through that balance and acknowledging things, but also celebrating other things.
We're gonna end the episode there because that was really good. That would be the highlight of the highlight message that I think I really want to deliver through talking about this topic.
I passed, thank God.
Okay, thank you so much. And for all of our listeners out there, if you like today's episode and you want to hear more from Clarissa, feel free to comment or go to our social medias, Instagram, 小红书. Let us know your thoughts.
Woohoo!
Share with us what you like about it, whatever you want to say.
And preferably, oh my God, Wendy, you're so amazing. And I just love all these episodes and you're so great.
Oh, yeah, say that, people, say that. We also have a listeners WeChat group if you want to join, but it will be mainly in Chinese and Mandarin in that group. Although these days they've been quiet there. But if you want to join, go reach out to our phone operator. You can find him, her, they by searching One Call Away Podcast on WeChat. Also, we actually have Patreon platform, but I'm still trying to figure out how to use it. If you feel like you really want to support our show, feel free to donate or become a patron there. All right. Thank you.
Can we do a boobs part 2?
We can. I feel like there's so much we can talk about in boobs part 2.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye, Wendy.